Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thundercast. We are part of the Believe Network, and this podcast is brought to you by the good folks at FanDuel Sportsbook. We got a great pod for you guys today. I'm very excited to get into it, but first, I got to introduce my co-host, my compatriot, the newest member to the team, Focus. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, the Thunder are winning. We have advanced to Vegas in the Cup. We got a Wemby matchup coming up. Like it's good times. It's exciting times for a Thunder fan. We're chasing history, and I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm excited to introduce our guests. So let's get into it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and do that as soon as I pull up the intro. Here we go. Joining us today are two friends that reside on separate sides of the nation but share the same passion for the game. They are both graduates of the Arizona State University, but just missed the euphoric experience of Lee Dort College basketball. One is sadly a fellow Steelers fan, and one is fluent in Spanish and Italian. However, both are fluent when it comes to the game of basketball. While their encyclopedic knowledge are pivotal to the Volume Sports Network, you would need a thesaurus to come up with better words to describe their podcast, because when you look up ball in the dictionary, you would see them. And here they are, once again, returning to the podcast to discuss the Thunder with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the connoisseurs of context, the hymns of history, the goats of glaze, get ready to talk nerdy with the host of Nerd Sesh, Carson Breber and Logan Camden.
Dylan, nobody does it like you with an intro, man. I mean, that's just real class stuff. Thank you, dude. It's good to be here. You guys are giving me a little intermission between writing another video about the Thunder for YouTube, because I just can't stop, because the Thunder just keep doing stuff that melts my brain. So I can't wait to talk about them some more.
Yeah, let's get nerdy. I'm happy to be here. That's killer. They need to get you on the All-Star game or something, man.
That's what I'm saying. We got to have you in like a PA role. You got to be an in-game host.
I would love it, man. Whenever I think before the Thunder brought in their new PA guy, they was like saying they was bringing in people to audition, and we kind of have like a fake audition on the podcast. Got my bag a little bit there, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball team this year. And Carson, it's funny, you talk about you can't stop talking about the Thunder. I mentioned the Glaze. Many people online just keep mentioning that you are the Shai Glazer, but we're going to jump right into Shai, because, you can't talk about the Thunder basketball team without talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I just want to ask, because as I said, you guys are historians of the game. You guys know this crap like the back of your hand. You know players I've never heard of. Is there another example of a player that has gradually improved and added to his game year after year over an 8-year stretch like you have seen from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
That's a really good question, because he just keeps adding layer year after year. There's a lot of the greats who just continually get a little bit better. Like, one of the guys who comes to mind actually recently is the guard who I would say, just in terms of his greatness, totally different styles, but is most comparable to Shai, and that is Steph, right? Him adding, first of all, this, you can't even call it a layer, entire dimension of becoming the greatest off-ball weapon we'd seen after he had been primarily more of a pick-and-roll heavy ball handler, and then him adding strength to his frame so he could be more elite as an isolation scorer, as a self-creator against physical playoff defenses. Because it's not like with Shai, ever since he got to the level where he could give you 30 a night, there's one specific crazy leap one year that stands out as much as it's just continual progression of last couple years, really adding the step back three with more volume to his bag, continuing to grow as a playmaker, right? Just getting better and better on the margins, and it amounts to this big difference. But Shai is a very unique player. I think about another recent great, like Jokic is another guy who's just continued to get better and better. So I don't know if his improvement necessarily, just in terms of how much he's gotten better, is like a totally unique thing. But I do think the specifics of his journey is a unique thing. I don't know, Logan, is there anyone who comes to mind for you?
I mean, Steph was the guy that I was going to shout out, actually not for his NBA time, but like more of his time at Davidson. I remember Dell used to talk about how Steph every offseason, and my dad used to tell me this too, every offseason Steph would dedicate his training to a new aspect of his game. Like once he got shooting down, he moved on to dribbling and playmaking and slowly rounded out his game. What I think is interesting is kind of what, first of all, great question too. I mean, fantastic question. I don't think we've ever gotten one like that actually, but it's interesting to think about. I don't know someone that's rounded out their game so perfectly, kind of like Carson's saying, where they've added like depth and improved so tangibly. Like this season specifically, what's so crazy to me is the 3-point shooting and him protecting the ball even better. And like the little growth was what's most impressive to me. But
Yeah.
I kind of get what you're saying too, though. It's like Shai is interesting in the fact that he wasn't so highly touted. You know, it's like not that he was thrown into the Paul George deal, but like he wasn't really looked at as the prized possession of that deal at the time when it went down, right? The haul was all of the first round picks, and then Shai developed. So I do think that aspect of it is interesting, right? Where it kind of caught you by surprise, and now he's one of the best players in the league. You know, that is more similar to a trajectory like a Giannis or like Carson saying, like a Jokic, somebody that's a little bit more unexpected.
Yeah. And I do think there's a couple years you could look at with Shai where you're like, it's not that the leap happened all at once, but there was a significant leap, and you could be like at least arguing him on the fringes of most improved. Obviously, he's never won the award, but like his second year, right? His first year in OKC, as he took on a bigger on-ball load, he got a lot better that year. I think when you look at the 2023 season, when he went from being like the fringe all-star kind of guy he had been, obviously very gifted scorer, but people weren't necessarily paying a lot of attention, doing it on bad teams. And then it was like, okay, this is a guy who we're talking about as a top 10 kind of player. And then the next year it was top 5 player, and then top 2-3 player. Like now this year, I think best in the world is a real conversation. It is definitely remarkable what he's done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been really fun to see. You know, and you talk about what you see on the court. It's just as much important what you see off the court, or what you don't see. You know, behind the scenes, off the court. The leadership that he's providing for his teams. It's comes from like top down. So like you don't get better every year like he has without a tremendous work ethic, and that is 100%. Something that has bled through the rest of the team, and that's why you see these massive improvements year after year of like. Even younger guys like Cason Wallace has been like miles better this year than he was, even last season. And I just think that, Shai's improvement track is insane. It's like last year it's probably like, wow, like, he's like top 2, like he won the MVP, he won the championship. It's like, how much better could he even possibly be? And like, he's extremely better this year.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is.
For like my bad. For someone like Shai, like I really never looking at last year, I was like, how can he possibly get better? And this year it was crazy because we talked about Shai's mid-range leap that he made in 2022, like after the All-Star break, right? He had that 30-point per game stretch before he got injured, and he kind of figured out how to become a high-volume scorer. It kind of feels like this year, like the 3-point line, he's got that same level of like being comfortable there, right? Like hitting side steps, hitting step backs. As long as he plants his feet and gets that good, the lower body strength to get that shot up, it looks like it's online every single time. The amount of lower body strength that Shai has is absolutely ridiculous. Like he can hit shots at any speed, semi-transition, half court, contested. Like the level of confidence that he's playing with, I think he's shooting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 52% on step back threes, which is obviously not going to sustain, but like. This is a type of pull-up shooting you never see from guys like this this early in their prime, right? Like making this leap from 37% this year to probably rounds up as like a low 40s this year. Like you kind of run out of words about Shai's improvement. It's just
what's kind of crazy about that is like a ripple effect for these playoffs, or like that was something that teams were able to kind of. You have to have a counter against the superstars, right? For a guy like Anthony Edwards, it's like if he takes a mid-range jumper, that's a win. Last year, if Shai was settling for that 3 in the playoffs, like he shot 28% from deep, that's a win for the defense. This year, it's like, dude, what counter is the defense going to throw? It's like last year, that's a win. It's a wasted possession almost. This year, he takes it. He's shooting it at like you're saying, man, a step back, even a 50% clip on the year, a 40% clip. What do you do with the guy?
last 17 games, I think he's 53% from three overall.
Yeah.
Like just the efficiency stuff we're seeing from him across the board is literally the best ever. I think there's a legitimate argument that if Shai keeps this up, it's the greatest scoring regular season in NBA history, just because we've never seen a combination of volume and efficiency like this. And I think the first thing that'll come to people's mind when I say that is 2016 Steph, because the volume was almost there and the efficiency. I mean, he was like 13 points above league average true shooting percentage.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever touches that, but Shai is now at a spot where he's like better than plus 10% relative true shooting. He's doing it with even more volume. He's scoring the second most points on a per possession basis in any season ever. It's only to 2019 Harden. And he's doing it with this crazy on-ball load. Like, this guy is creating more offense for himself than any other player in the NBA. He's doing it on 100th percentile efficiency when it comes to, like, out of those self-created play types. And then, like, the last kicker that makes him even more insanely efficient as a player is the fact that Logan mentioned he's the best ever at protecting the basketball. So every single possession, this guy is getting you a good shot up when he has the ball in his hands in a way that we've never seen from any other player in the history of this game. And I think that that's just a fact at this point. And it's unbelievable. I mean, the three-point shooting, like, it's just stupid now, but it really is the icing on the cake. Because when he shoots 70% at the rim whenever he wants and 50% from mid-range whenever he wants and gets to the line 10 times a game and makes 90% of those shots. I was just thinking about this. We hold obviously 50, 40, 90 in like the highest regard. That's the pinnacle of efficiency. Shai right now is doing 60% on twos, better than 45% on threes, 88% at the line. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. And, you know, you talking about the three-point shot, you talking about the step back. Specifically, if he gets that left-hand punch triple step back, it feels like that's like 100%. Like, that's just that's a layup for Shai. You know, I'm glad you brought up, like, you know, what he's doing historically, because I want to ask you guys, can you conceptualize what Shai is doing this season in a historical sense in terms of, like, you know, where he stacks up with, like, you know, some of these peak guard seasons, or, you know, not even guard seasons to a certain degree, because, like you said, his efficiency has stood out so good.
I'll take this one first. I've thought about this a lot. I've said I think that Shai is on the Mount Rushmore of guard peaks now, and that's only alongside MJ, Magic Johnson, and Steph. To me, MJ still stands above the rest. And that's like almost become the comparison for Shai for ball knowers, at least in terms of like the production, right? Just like being an automatic 33, 6, and 6. It's very Jordan-esque. And there are certain Jordan-esque aspects of just his body control, like the ballet-like agility, nimbleness he has in the paint around the rim. The difference, I think, is, first of all, we'll have to see Shai do it in the playoffs at a comparable level to what MJ did. I have so much faith in playoff Shai. I think he'll be better this time around. And I always thought he was really good last time around, but just the three ball leaving him, some of those early series decision-making issues, I think he'll have a smoother run this time around. The thing with MJ is just like, he could literally elevate, give you 35 plus a game on plus 5% relative to shooting every single run when you look at his prime years, like 88 to 93, and doing it with this off-ball stress that I do think sets him apart from Shai, even though I think the reality is you can put the ball in Shai's hands and he's going to create the highest shot quality in terms of just being that on-ball guard of any player we've seen, especially for himself. But having the ability to stress a defense in multiple ways off ball, that is still a slight edge that I would give to MJ. But like I've said, Magic, Steph, those are real conversations for me. Like, it's almost coming down to a matter of preference of what's your philosophy on team building, because Shai is one of the greatest offensive players ever. I don't think that I can call him a Magic or Steph offensively. Those are two of the 5 best offensive players ever. But Shai is now at this place where he's like back half of the top 10 when it comes to highest offensive peaks we've ever seen, and clearly more of a positive defensively than a Magic or a Steph. So it's a real conversation. And like I said, if you're looking for like a GOAT conversation for Shai, it's best scoring season ever, because that's a real conversation at this point for all the reasons that I laid out there, especially in terms of the regular season pace that he's at right now.
I think Shai's right there with those guys. And like Carson said, it is a matter of personal preference. Like, he's just become so undeniably great. Like, do you want the guys that enhance their teammates more and make offense, you know, super easy like Steph and Magic? Or do you want like that
the best self-created
the killer
score
the killer
ever.
score?
Yeah,
it reminds me
stop.
a lot. I don't want this to sound stupid, but it reminds me almost in a sense of like for a while the LeBron or MJ conversations, like at their peak. Like, to an extent, like in just of what they do at their best. Like, I think LeBron's best attribute is the fact that he makes his teammates so great. He's one of the best scorers of all time as well, but that's his A1 trait. I think MJ's is the fact that he's going to you can't stop him from putting the ball in the basket. And so in that sense of like archetypes, like Shai is just that damn good. Like it's, and like Carson said, if you're including two-way ability too, I do think that's an edge that he has, but it's not like you can't scoff at these conversations anymore. And like guys he's clear of, like Harden, not close to me. Like I'm taking him over D Wade, like those guys he's clear of. And at his apex, like even some of the legends of all time, like Big O, Jerry West, like he's, I'd take Shai over those guys. I think Mount Rushmore is a good way to put it, Carson. I think he's top 4. Shai's there. And for what Carson's kind of talking about with the MJ stuff, I think that it's a matter of consistency because we can't crown the guy after one playoff run. You know what I mean? In terms of historically, right? Like Steph, to me, cemented himself when he went on his run in 2022. That's his most impressive run.
Yeah.
2015 is super impressive. He did it before KD, with KD, after KD. All of Magic's, they're super impressive too. So Shai's going to have to obviously climb the mountain again, but I don't see why he can't. And it seems like him and this Thunder team are just on this incredible trajectory, both together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you this, Logan, because, listen to the pod in our conversations, like you've always been, you've always been a Shai supporter. Like you said, like he's up there in the Mount Rushmore of guards, but you are a huge Jokic guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Jokic is a phenomenal basketball player. He's right there with Shai, obviously best in the world conversation. I want to ask you this, though. Talking this season, what both these guys are doing, because both of them are having, in their respects, like one of the best seasons in NBA history, both guys. If they both keep up on this track, how many wins do the Thunder have to get for Shai to be back-to-back MVP?
I mean, it's a good question. He'd be my MVP right now. Like what the Thunder have done without Dub is so impressive. And I think Shai's just been the best player in the game. I will say I cut Denver a little bit of slack in the team sense for how much overhaul they had. You know what I mean? I think there's a continuity aspect with OKC. Like Cam Johnson's not playing super well. I think there are some other moving pieces with Denver that ding his case, but Shai's been the best player in the league this year. Him against Jokic, it's like, dude, it's almost preferential at this point too. The edge that the thing that Carson was talking about earlier too, with the two-way ability, one of the edges I do think Shai has isn't that he's that much better of a defensive player than Jokic. I think some people can kind of boil that fact down a little bit too simplistically. It's the fact that Shai is a good defender at his position, and because he's not a center, it doesn't inhibit you from having a mediocre team defense the way that Jokic at the 5 spot does. Chet on his own is one of the best defensive players on the planet, right? Like the Thunder team defense is its own beast. So I don't know if it's a numbers thing. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. OKC wins 64 games plus. Give it to Shai. Like, I think he's going to lock it up, man. Back-to-back 60-win campaigns. It's more of, does he keep this pace? Does he knock off at all? Shai's my guy, though, at this point in the season. But, I mean, I know you guys are, like, a little bit biased. Have you been there with Shai? Are you there with Shai? Like, who do you think's the best player on the planet? And if you think it's Shai, like, what edges do you think he has over Jokic?
Good, folks.
I think last year I would probably take Jokic over Shai, because the thing was that Shai's playmaking and processing just took way too long to take in all of those playoff series. I look back at Game 3 versus Denver and even Game 4 where they won. Shai's lack of processing against that zone really held him back. But he still showed those highs, right? Game 2 against Denver, Game 7 against Denver. He just completely dominated them as a playmaker scorer. Jokic, I know it's an all-time great Oklahoma City defense, right? Shai was playing a pretty Denver defense that obviously was playing this matchup zone. I still just think Jokic's offensive floor was much more higher last year. But if Shai's processing improvements are real, and then you add this, layer of 3-point scoring, I think it gets really, really close. And like what you said earlier, Jokic, it's not really the defensive gap, right? Like, sure, Jokic might be a neutral to slight negative on defense. Shai might be a slight positive or whatever you want to say. The thing is, like, it's just so hard to build like a truly elite defense if you don't have an elite rim protector, right? Meanwhile, Shai, no matter what, he's not going to hold you back from elite defense. In fact, he's adding to it, right? So Shai's almost like the ultimate ceiling raiser in that nature. And I'm not saying Jokic is not a ceiling raiser. Obviously, Jokic could probably win 60 games with a slightly better roster. Maybe he does it this year, right? But I just think it's much more easier to hit that ceiling with this level of Shai. Last year, no, but right now I'm taking Shai. I think the impact metrics all agree with me right now, even though both of them are like breaking the numbers right now. If you look at EPM and some of those other stats, they're like, I think best in a decade or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but they're both insane. I just think this version of Shai probably slightly edges him out. But again, like you said, we're only 25 games into the season, and all that really matters is the playoffs when you get to players this close.
Yeah, and I lean Shai this year. Last year, I felt like it was more of like a 1A, 1B thing. You know, like you said, preferential. It's really hard when they both play different positions. But the thing that kind of pushes me over the edge, specifically this year, is it kind of doesn't matter who's out there. As long as Shai is out there, the Thunder still have a winning formula. They're still able to win. Like, Dubs missed, more than half the season. Ihart's been out a ton. Chet's been out in spots. Dort's missed a lot of time. Like, everybody on the team has missed like at least 3 or 4 games, except for Shai. Like, he's been the one constant to this 24-1 record. And, Jokic, obviously, like, he's able to elevate his teammates. Even though they're missing a couple starters, they've still won I think 4 straight at this point. Like, they're still able to string these wins, but they also might drop, a random game to the Kings every now and then. Like, they still might drop one of these random games, and obviously the defensive lapse and whatnot. But also the big things this year is, like you mentioned early on, is the way that Shai is protecting the ball better than anybody at this usage ever has, and also just the clutch scoring. Like, the fact that this guy has played in not even half of the fourth quarters this season, but when he plays in the fourth quarter, he's the best player in the game in the fourth quarter, bar none. That just kind of pushes it over the edge for me.
The one thing that is ridiculous about Jokic this season is also his efficiency. Like, the fact to me that, like, that's also what makes these conversations so interesting to me. I always love the MVP races just because of the different arguments that you can construct. Like, Giannis, and I don't mean to exclude Embiid from this because he was a part of this conversation too, but like Giannis, Jokic, and SGA year in, year out, it's like Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar going to battle. Like, they're all so reliably great every single season. Like, what I'm saying is that, like, with Jokic, you could make the LeBron argument every single season that it's like he's just clearly like the best player again. And I just don't want to take him for granted. He's averaging 29 points per game on 72.7% true shooting, man. Like, he's shooting damn near 45% from deep too. Yeah. Like, it's just crazy, man. I really feel like these are two of the top. I don't know. I can't say concretely. They're just two of the most talented players I've ever watched. And the fact that I feel like we've gotten some of the best MVP races in NBA history recently. Yeah. And I kind of just can't believe it, man. Like, the fact that nobody ever really seems to really surge ahead. Like, they're always so close. They're so talented. I just don't want to take Jokic for granted, man. It feels like we can kind of do it like this LeBron thing where it's like, oh, Jokic is just, he did it again.
Yeah, I think best in the world is a real conversation. For me, Shai has to definitively take that title. Like, if we're talking about who's been the best up to this point this season, I don't want to be a coward. I might actually say it's a draw. I mean, they both feel completely unstoppable. They feel like they literally get whatever they want out there on the court. Mm-hmm. And I think there is an interesting conversation to be had. And you kind of touched on this focus about just buildability. Who is easier to build around? If both these players are top 10 all time, that's the level they're at in terms of peak. Who is it just a little bit more intuitive? You have more options building that roster around them. And there are times where I think that argument slightly favors Shai because of obviously his ability to just plug and play in any defensive scheme and be a slight positive there at a position that isn't quite as essential defensively as center, although I think more so every defender on the floor is important. It's a no weak link kind of league, but Shai's just a little better on that end. So he's a little better to build around. And then offensively, like, he just plays this style where he requires so little around him because he can take on such a crazy on-ball load, and it's so consistent, and his ability to dominate just like the middle of the floor in every possession, get where he wants, and generate, again, the most efficient on-ball offense. This is a guy who's like generating a 125 offensive rating out of pick and roll isolation. Like, this is stuff we haven't seen from a guard before. I do still think Jokic is the best offensive player ever, though. And so if Shai has a bit of an edge in terms of that defensive build ability, I still think Jokic does offensively, too. As easy as it is to build a really good offense around Shai, and we've seen him take any group, right? You give him the great screener in Hartenstein, and he's going to lead you to a 125 offensive rating this year. You ask him to play more ISO-heavy 5-out, Shed at the 5, and Shai's just going to shred you scoring just as much and lead to just as good team offense. So he's very easy to build around there. Jokic, though, there is like this crazy thing where you can put him with multiple non-shooters. I mean, we saw this guy lead a dominant, historically great playoff offense before Aaron Gordon became any sort of like a consistent spot-up shooting threat, right? When teams were totally willing to help off of him, but he can amplify a guy in the dunker spot so much, and his versatility is just so crazy. As much as I love the philosophy of just put it in Shai's hands every time, you don't really need other guys who can take that ball handling burden because Shai's just that special. The fact that Jokic is also a guy who's unstoppable out of the post, a guy who is unstoppable off the short roll, off the pop, has been such a ridiculous shooter, is an elite screener, an elite offensive rebounder. Like, some of the things that he does on the margin to amplify team offense, a guy who can play curling off screens. He's definitely a better off-ball scorer than Shai. Again, it just comes down to Jokic doing this for so long and continuing to get better in his own right. I thought last year was the best two-man MVP race ever, and I thought that Shai deserved it. I thought it was by a fraction, a hair. Jokic fans will never forgive me for that, the fact that I could ever say that anybody deserved MVP over their Lord and Savior, even though I was known as a Jokic glazer first and foremost for years, and I am extremely high on him. This year, both guys have just like clearly taken it up a level. I think Shai's is more noticeable. Jokic doesn't miss this year, though. I'm talking about Shai's shooting splits. I mean, Jokic is over 70% on twos, 42% from three, high 80s at the line, getting to the line more than ever before, 29-point triple-double, leading an offense that is currently number one in relative offensive rating. Like, take your pick, dude. I have no problem with anybody saying Shai, and I'm really, really thinking about it. Again, especially just in terms of who's been better this year. Ty goes to the runner, though, and for me, Ty still goes to Jokic. But it is a tie based on how they're playing right now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And just briefly, this was conversation like very early in the season on Twitter, and my buddy I was arguing with him about this. Is the top five in this year, like, Shai, Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Wemby, top five, like band for band in history of any other top five? Like, how are you feeling about it?
I think so. We've had this conversation. I mean, I think it comes down to Wemby and how great he is for the rest of this year, because he is, I don't want to call him an unknown. I think he's already established as top five at this point, but it's like, all right, is he top three great? Just like, how ludicrous is he? Because his start to the year was so stupid. I was like, is he the best player in the world right now? And then we saw defenses adjust, right? Send multiple bodies at him more often, play him super physically, sometimes guard him with more of those like feisty wings who can give him a little trouble. And his offense just wasn't quite the same in that stretch before he got hurt. It's really going to come down to his ability to deal with doubles. But I think so. In terms of talent, like, I would say Jokic and Shai right now, they're both at like top 10 peaks of all time. I think Giannis is at like a top 20 peak of all time. I think Luka, I don't know, maybe a top 25, 30 kind of peak of all time. Like, the stuff that he's doing is ridiculous. Like, I'm not the highest on him. He's still averaging almost 35, 9, and 9 on like 63% true shooting. Like, that's the fourth best player in the league. And then actually maybe it's Wemby. We'll just have to see what he looks like when he gets back. There's some great eras of comparison. If you think about like the 2003 range, or you have Duncan, Shaq, KG, Kobe, and people will throw T-Mac into that mix as well. I feel like there's somebody else who I'm spacing on who I'd have a little higher. You can look at like around the 88 season when you almost have like coinciding peaks from MJ, Magic, and Bird. I think Magic's the only one who was at his absolute peak at that moment, but those guys all being so ridiculous. And then you've got a Barkley in there. You've got an Akeem in there. Like, it's not some runaway, because we've just seen several eras where talent coincided at this crazy level. All speak for the old heads. There's not even many of them who are still alive at this point. But the 1962 season, I mean, that's one of the great MVP races ever. You've got Bill Russell, you've got Wilt's 50-point per game season, even though that wasn't his peak. But you've got Elgin, you've got Jerry West, you've got Oscar. That was a great top 5. But just the talent, I mean, the level of basketball alien shit that we're seeing, if they keep it up, I think I would go with this 5 right now.
Yeah, I would go with this 5. Wemby kind of just like puts him over the top, honestly. Like, kind of like Carson saying, like, not that we don't know, like, we don't know exactly what, like, just how great he is going to be, but he is so transcendent on both sides of the court at this point. Like, him is the 5th best player in the league. Luka is one of the greatest offensive engines of all time. Like, I literally just think it's the most talented we've ever seen in the league. And not just at the top, too. I think it's the most depth we've seen across the league. Like, that's the most fascinating point, man. I'm just so excited for the next decade of basketball and seeing how high the floor of the average player becomes. Like, how kind of everything about it, man. Like, how tall the average players are. Like, are small guards still going to exist, man? Like, all that stuff kind of fascinates me. Just this. Kind of like Carson was saying, man, that no weak link kind of basketball. It really interests me the way the league is trending in that regard. But what do you guys think? Is it concrete to you? I think this is the most talented top 5 we've seen in the league.
Yeah, that was my argument. I was saying just like skill wise, just like you were saying, like the peak, the versatility, like, if you add like the defense of like a Wemby or a Giannis, and obviously like you've got guards, you got bigs. Like if you was to make that like a starting lineup, like it would be absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, no, I'm leaning current day.
I want to shout out Dirk for 03. That was the 5th guy I was thinking, because everybody always throws in T-Mac because he was first team All-NBA that year, but that era of bigs was just so stupid.
I have a cool question, and this is kind of off the spot, but has there ever been like 3 straight seasons where the same 2 players have finished top 2 for MVP? Because Shai and Jokic are probably gonna do that again, right? Like, I'm trying to think on top of my
question.
head.
Let me think. Jerry West was runner-up 4 times. Well, so we had Embiid and Jokic in 22 and 23, but yeah. 21. No, I think it was 3. Because 21, I thought Steph should have been second that year, but he was 3rd. And I think Giannis was 4th. So I think that Jokic and Embiid actually went 3 straight. But, let me confirm that. But, yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And they're just on top of the world right now. And, like, I'm so high on Giannis. I think Giannis is so amazing. But I still just think, like, the offensive level that Shai and Jokic are at right now, I would just prefer that half-court dominance. And even though I say, like, Jokic is the best offensive player ever, and I think he's a little easier to build around, I also do think, like, there is an element of obviously he has to go up against OKC's defense. Nobody else has to do that. Like, they're going to put anybody through hell, and that's why it's like, obviously his numbers from last series were, like, by far the ugliest he's put up since he became the player he is, and I thought he could and should have played better in that series, maybe would in a rematch, had some down games, some clunkers. Also, he's facing one of the greatest defenses ever. But, like, there is just an element of it being easier at times to double a post-up player, right? And the fact that he doesn't have that same volume of self-created scoring and that same ability of, like, you can load up on Shai, but at the end of the day, whenever he wants, he can get to a 15-footer at the elbow, and you can't stop that. There is no defense to take that away, and that is a legitimately efficient shot for him. So especially when it comes to crunch time, and in certain matchups, like, there is an inevitability there. Whereas it's like, part of this is situational, but with Christian Brown not being able to knock down a jumper, like, when you can reliably double off of a player, sometimes there's nothing Jokic can do, right? Because it's like, all right, if he makes the read, the guy misses the shot. CB tries to cut into a lane that the Thunder defense is able to take away with all their length and speed. I guess that's just the one thing. Like, there is an aspect of a perimeter player dictating that can be more impossible to take away. I don't know how I got there from your question, Focus, but that's just what came to my mind. I was just thinking about how insane Shai and Jokic are and how close they are right now.
I just wanted to shout out, too, the other one I found. KD and LeBron did it 2012 to 2014. They traded 1 and 2 every year.
But was I right about Embiid, Jokic 21 to 23? I think so.
Those are the 2.
Okay.
Nice.
So Jokic just finished top 2 for the entire decade. Like,
he has.
Holy shit, bro.
And deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right, well, we turned this into a Jokic quiz, so let's get back to Shai real quick.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd plays them both, dude. This is I'm not taking sides in this whole war. I'm like giving them both A pluses every chance I can.
Context, that's crazy, but all right. I just gotta ask. this is kind of chicken or egg conversation. Shout out Euro Thunder in the chat. Well, if I can get my mouse to work, they actually said it was reported that iHeart is going to be back for the Spurs game as well. You know, we saw that Wemby is going to be back in this game. I kind of mentioned it, you know, whenever I was talking about, you know, my case for Shai this year over Jokic, about, you know, it doesn't really matter who's out there. Like, as long as he's out there, you know, we're able to maintain this like 24-1 record. But, you know, anytime you try to like prop up Shai on Twitter, somebody's always going to come in and be like, yeah, he's got a super team. Like, it's the super team excuse, the super team angle. So the chicken or the egg, man, is the Thunder all-time great because of Shai, or is the Thunder all-time great because they're a super team?
They're all-time great for two reasons fundamentally. They have one of the greatest scorers and offensive players ever, and they have one of the greatest defenses ever. I don't think that you can separate one from the other or pretend it's this or that when you're talking about them being a team that is now maybe going to have the greatest regular season ever, when it's so clearly both. Like, you're right, Dylan. They're unstoppable when Shai is on the floor, even if J-Dub is out, even if Dort is out, even if Caruso's out, even if Chet is out, as long as, you know, they have one of the bigs out there. The thing is, like, yes, he's going to make them an elite offense no matter what, but the same is also true of Jokic. Jokic is going to do that with any personnel around him, and there's only a few guys in NBA history you could say that about. Shai is absolutely one of them. The thing is, they're also going to be an utterly dominant defense, because even if they're missing one all-defense guy, they've got four others. Like, I just straight up think the Thunder have 5 all-defense caliber players. I think they have the deepest group of plus defenders ever. Shai single-handedly makes them a great offense. I truly believe that. I think that even with a lack of ball handling around him, right, which you see without J-Dub, even with spotty shooting around him, like, it's because of what we've talked about. Every single possession, he can get you to a high percentage shot. At the same time, although I think he is a slight positive defensively, you know, he is pretty much replaceable when it comes to their defense being as insane as it is. They have a better defensive rating with him off the court this year. So I think it's both those things. And then I think it's some stuff on the margins where they're the best in terms of scoring margin off of turnovers that we've ever seen. They're plus 10 points per game in points off turnovers. Why is that? Because they are the best defense we've seen in a long, long time at forcing turnovers. And Shai is the best we've ever seen at preventing turnovers for the offense. So, like, it's just the perfect marriage. When you have a GOAT-level defense and a GOAT-level scorer, who the hell is going to be able to beat you?
Yeah, and I will say, like, you know, talking about, like, you know, the defensive rating being higher with Shai off the floor, I think that's kind of by design, just because Shai carries such a load offensively.
For sure.
That's how they get into their offenses, by just like turning up the intensity, turning up the pressure, creating turnovers, and getting out in transition.
No, 100%. I think anybody who tries to use that as a knock against Shai is utterly ridiculous. My point is just, if we're ranking the best defenders on OKC, you know, Shai is 6th, whatever. Like, but in terms of offensive importance, there's no world in which I would take anybody other than Jokic over him in the game today. Like, I think he's clear of Luka offensively at this point. I just think the consistency, the efficiency. Luka has games where he can get over.
I like Shai's style
and turn it over, and
I
he can
just
put up
his style of play.
A lot of step back threes and miss them. And it's just like with Shai, I know what I'm getting every single night and every possession.
Yeah, Shai he's I just prefer his game to Luka too, man. I think Luka's frustrating to watch. I think he's replaceable, like, in the sense that he's not one of their top defenders, but I hate that, like, these conversations on Twitter, like, or anytime somebody does that, it just, like, removes all nuance out of the conversation. Nobody's ever won a championship by themselves. It's a team sport. Like, it's what makes this thing interesting. Like, I don't get why people try to denigrate Shai by saying he's got a great team around him. Yeah, so does every other champion that, you know, wins. And it's just, it's like, I don't know, man. Were people that shit on Michael Jordan in the 1990s? Hey, bro, he's got Rodman and Scottie Pippen, man. The guy's got too much help. He's got Luke Longley down there holding the paint. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think, like Carson said, dude, it's the perfect storm. It's the Thunder, man. It's all coming together. Like, they have one of the greatest defenses ever, one of the greatest offensive players ever. It's really that simple. Like, I just hate when people try to act like it's one because of the other. They're great because they're a team, man. You know, like, you want to talk like that, bro? Let's go talk about golf. Let's go talk about tennis, bro. Like, it's not one guy out there.
Individual greatness, baby.
Yeah, well, I just think the thing to really hammer home is, like, the Thunder are one of the best teams we've ever seen. The Thunder are on pace to shatter the record for net rating. Obviously, they're on pace for the wins record. We'll see if they hold that. But even if you just look at any 25 span in NBA history, any 25-game span, they've got the best point differential of any team to go 24-1. Even if you just look at this 16-game win streak they're on right now, they have the best point differential over any 16-game span in NBA history. So to me, it's like unbelievably asinine that anybody could try to discredit Shai at this point when, like, their offense is 15 points per 100 possessions better with him on the court, and he's doing all of these, like, historic #1 all-time kind of things offensively and specifically as a scorer. Because it's like, we're not just talking about a great team, dude. We're talking about a team that is absolutely destroying everybody in front of them. And then when they don't destroy you, Shai's on pace to have the best clutch season ever. So there's a lot of silliness around this team, but at some point people are just going to have to come to terms with the fact that, like, they're going to win a handful of titles. They might win 75 games this year, and people are going to have to come around to accept that when you are this great, it is because of all-time greatness in multiple areas, and those areas are the defense and what Shai does for the offense.
This scores around the team kind of like reminds me, like, a lot of fans just have floor-raising bias when it comes to players, right? They love to see, like, a superstar carry a team to, like, 50 wins or, like, a low playoff seed. Like the question I ask people, what do you want Shai to do? He's literally, like, breaking basketball efficiency. He's leading the best lineups ever. Like, what else is he possibly supposed to do? Like, there's nothing he can do better than this, right? He's leading the best lineups ever. Like, you cannot get better than plus 21. You cannot play better than plus 21 lineups. Like, Shai's playing perfect basketball. Like, you cannot tax him for being on a great team when he's maximizing his opportunity, you know? Like, 100%. If you had a great team,
I was just going to say, especially because the offense falls apart without him. Like, the offense is Shai. So you're exactly right, dude. I mean, he's playing perfectly. Like, the last 2 games is so stupid, dude. He's got 61 points in 56 minutes. He missed 6 total shots over 2 games. It's just like whatever he wants, he gets every time down.
Take your beef up with Sam Presti.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, we're gonna close the Shai Glaze book here with one question. I don't know if you guys. Sorry, we've had a good time here, but on the Bill Simmons podcast, he had Nick Wright on the show today, and they were talking about Shai in terms of, like, again, like his peak and also like where he ranks all time if he's able to continue what we all think he's gonna do, like, finish the season, go back-to-back MVP, back-to-back finals MVP. If that was to happen, where would you guys say a player like that ranks all time? Because I was actually kind of shocked that where Bill Simmons put him at.
Where did Simmons have him?
Top 20.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's too low?
No, I was just shocked. Yeah. Like, I'm not used to, like, people giving Thunder players their due, so I was shocked.
I feel like I feel like it's about right.
Yeah.
I don't really like having all-time conversations about 27-year-olds. That's why I like talking about peak, and I think obviously I've said Shai's peak to me is like getting into top 10 all-time territory, Mount Rushmore of guard peaks. You get to these weird spots where you're comparing him to, like, Karl Malone, gross, but it's like a dude who put together 15 all-NBA seasons and played for 20 years, and it's like Shai is still actively getting better every year. Yeah. He's been at this MVP kind of level for 3 years, really. Like, that just gets very wonky. But honestly, if Shai were to retire today, like, I am somebody who values peak more than longevity. I think it's always a balancing of the two. It's interesting because after Jokic won his title in 2023, I had him top 20 of all time. I do feel like Jokic had already just put together more, like, truly elite seasons, because this is part of the thing with Shai. He is a bit more of a late bloomer. Like, again, it's really 2023 where it's like, all right, this is a top 5 kind of player, and then since then just continue to get better. 4 seasons now, first team All-NBA. Yeah, I think he would be fringe top 20 for me.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, but I think he has the opportunity to climb much higher. It's just going to come down to, how long does he do it for?
And in terms of like the peak versus longevity, that was also one of Simmons' selling points. He said if Shai's career ended today, like I would take his 9 seasons over somebody like Chris Paul's 20 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, it's really close. I don't know. Obviously, the peak is higher, but just like
that one's tougher for
yeah.
That one's a little bit tougher for me.
I love Chris Paul. But I think it's probably true. I mean, the reality is like Chris Paul peaked as like the third, fourth best player in the world, and like he was fantastic. He had one of the best guard peaks ever. But there is a difference between the 8th, 9th highest guard peak ever and the 2nd to 4th. Like there is a level of undeniability. We can talk about the team around him, sure, but like Shai is getting to the point where you just feel like he propels you by so much. It's inevitable that like he's going to carve up every defense. He's going to lead to titles. And as great as Chris Paul was, and I think he's one of the most underratedly impactful winning players ever, he just never like had the league in a stranglehold like that, or defenses in a stranglehold like that. And like very few players in the history of this game have. And Shai's there. And Shai's been at that level for the last 2 years, but especially this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, Chris Paul was a big reason Shai is the player that he is, as Shai said,
bring him back. Let him retire.
Bring him back.
That'd be awesome. Finally get him a ring, man.
But it would also kind of be so fake. I'd feel weird about it.
Yeah.
But they kind of
that'd be awesome, dude. Come on, man.
It would still be cool, though. It would still be cool. Yeah.
It would be cool. It would be cool.
All right, we're going to talk about the other players on the team not named Shai after a word from our sponsors. All right, and we are back. We've got our fellows Carson, Breber, and Logan Camden of Nerd Sesh on here talking about – we talked a lot about Shai and where he stands historically because, Shai's having a historical season. We got to talk about it. But also the Thunder having a historical season. And as awesome as Shai has been, there's some other people that are really stepping up in a huge way. And one of them is one of your guys' favorite players. I know, coming into the draft, Chet Holmgren, man. And he was a guy that obviously he came out hot last year. Like those first 18 games, he was going gangbusters. He was all NBA level already. Then he had that injury. He missed a lot of time. We kind of not rushed him back, but we brought him back a little bit early just so we can kind of get him acclimated for the playoffs. And he was still really good. Like, one of the best defensive performances on the playoff stretch, probably up there. But offensively, he never quite reached what he was doing at the beginning of the year. Now you have what he's doing this season. And I just want to ask you guys, what's been the biggest thing that stands out to you in terms of Chet's growth from last year to this year? Because I think he's playing better now than he even was in that 18-game stretch.
I agree. Well, I think it was only 9 games before he got hurt, right? It was a
great
I
don't know where 18 came in my head.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
I think 18 points per game. That's what it was.
Yeah. And I mean, he always does it in 27, 28 minutes. I always think that Chet's performances are more impressive than the raw counting stats just because, he splits minutes with iHeart. They're blowing everybody out. He doesn't have to play 33 plus minutes a game. But I would say the most impressive thing to me is probably just the consistency of his assertiveness. That's something that I've just wanted to see from Chet. And obviously it's interrelated with some of these actual functional skills. There were stretches in the playoffs last year. I think about the finals where it's he tried to force it off the dribble a little bit and just in that environment wasn't comfortable handling in tight spaces with that physicality. And then it's okay, Chet, I don't want you to be aggressive just to be aggressive. Yeah. This year, it feels like he's perfectly struck that balance of aggression while playing within himself. I just feel like there's a floor for him offensively night after night where he's consistently getting into the high teens in a way that last year, certainly after he came back from the injury, wasn't. And, I think he's shooting the ball so well from deep. I do think the mechanics look a little bit smoother there. I was excited. The first handful of games, he was putting up 6 a game and he was putting up a couple more off the dribble. And I was kind of I wouldn't mind seeing that volume hold up. The volume's come down, but the efficiency has still been great. And I just think Chet is so unbelievably gifted and he has so much room to grow still, and he's already ridiculously good. I think he's playing at an all-NBA level this year, and what always gets underrated is what you said, Dylan. He had one of the best individual defensive postseasons we've seen in a while. I think he's a top 2 defender on the planet only after Wemby, and because obviously people focus on offense first, that can get underrated, but he does also have so much offensive ability and so much versatility, and just the efficiency with which he's putting the ball in the basket this year. I mean, what is he? He's at like 70% on twos and 40% from three. The Thunder are just unfair. But yeah, I've been really, really happy with Chet. I think some of those little skill development things, another really hard worker who still has so much he has added and can continue to add to his game.
Yeah, I don't want to be cliche, but kind of like Carson said, like his confidence, like Chet just looks like he believes in himself, like he's aggressive. It's looked like that all season long. I don't know if it's the championship validity mentally. I don't know if he's just way more healthier than he was at the end of last season, and so he's just, like he just feels better physically, so he's more confident in getting into looks. I also just like that Chet, his shot selection, like he is either getting downhill inside 10 feet to the basket where he's finishing super efficiently, or he's he's shooting a three where he can shoot over everybody, and he fits in so well. Like that is something that I think OKC's talent top to bottom for you guys is so exceptional, but the way in which everybody just plays their role and fits in alongside each other, that's one of the things that, and I don't know how I'm getting from this from just talking about Chet, but like one of the things I love about OKC is like their commitment to playing a role and playing together as a basketball team that I sometimes think can get lost also with the talent. Is just like these guys love each other and they commit to roles. Great teams take sacrifice. Like kind of like what Carson's saying, Chet Holmgren, if he was the number one somewhere else, I think could give you 20 plus points per game. And I think could put up some pretty gaudy numbers. If, like you were saying too, like people value this floor raising thing.
Yeah.
Chet is so good in his ability to fit alongside and to do these connective things as well, not just, his talent. And that's one of the things I admire so much about this Thunder team, that they all are committed to just winning the game and doing all the little things together. And they all fit in so well, man. Great teams take sacrifice. And I feel like all these guys commit to their roles. Chet too.
Can I give a couple more stats just on the scoring floor? I just pulled this up. Last year, half of his games, this is just in the regular season, and, he struggled more in the playoffs. I mean, he had 2 really good series offensively, 2 really bad series. Denver and Indiana were rough for him offensively. But half of his games in the regular season last year, he scored under 15. This year, that's only happened in 6 of 21 games. So, again, you're just feeling his presence more consistently. And like Logan said, I mean, it really is his ability to fit in. That's why I was so crazy high on Chet as a prospect. And I've always been so high. It's like when you can be one of the best defenders on the planet, and then offensively, you can be super efficient and you can always contribute in a way that is just like very seamless, right? I mean, he's somebody who is a good transition scoring big with his ball handling and his speed. He's somebody who obviously is a good spot up player. He is very effective as a pick and popper. He's not a great screener, but like when he does get a clean roll off, he's this massive, super coordinated target around the rim. We know what he can do as a ball handler and a driver. And it just like comes together in this player who can attack in a number of ways. And on a per minute basis, I mean, per 36, dude, 24 points on this ridiculous 67% true shooting efficiency. Like with that defense, he's just been fantastic.
Yeah, and I think last year in talking to you guys and listening to your pod and everything, I think, and I was right there with you. I think we all staunchly believed that like the Thunder's fastball was Chet at the 5, with Shai Dub, all these other like switchable players on there. This year, Isaiah Hartenstein has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
and the 2-man game between them has paid like huge dividends. They've been awesome. Obviously, Hart's missed the last couple of games. Chet's been at the 5. He's playing awesome again. What I want to ask you is, now seeing what you have seen, do you still prefer Chet at the 5, or do you think it even matters?
I think I still do, but I think it's more so matchup dependent, and like you're going to need all of it. I think Ihart is such a good offensive player, and I think what he brings for them in terms of that dimension of physicality, elite rebounding, obviously, being a playmaking hub as a big, if it's handoffs, right? His 2-man game with Shai, freeing Shai up as a ball handler out of pick and roll. Like he just does so much good stuff. And then defensively, they are still really, really good with those two on the floor. I guess I do love the Chet at the 5 look so much because it makes their defense like actually just perfect. Ihart is a good defender. But the level of speed that they have with Chet at the 5 is the craziest of any defense I've ever seen. And just like God tier switchability and the chaos that they cause for opposing offenses. And then offensively, it gives Chet a little bit more room to operate. I do think that he individually is most effective offensively at the 5, but I am going to say it more so comes down to matchups. And like, this is the crazy thing about OKC. I think that they can just destroy you however they want. Double big this year. They've got a plus 22 net rating. Chet at the 5 this year, they've got a plus 20 net rating. It's like, pick your poison. You're getting destroyed no matter what. But I do love them having iHeart. And I think that's going to be an interesting question that they'll have to address, because they've got the team option for him, right? And they'll have to figure out, how are we going to try to keep him around long-term, or are we going to accept that this is going to be Chet at the 5? Because obviously we'll see what happens with Sorber, right? I like Jay Will enough, but I do think having those multiple looks with 2 really good bigs is just such a great punch that they can throw.
Yeah, I like Carson. I think it's matchup dependent. But what I think is interesting for you guys is like what you do team building wise in terms of roster construction. You know, that's the most fascinating thing to me. Like the Thunder have such a spoiling of riches. Like, how are they going to manage them all? You know, is Hartenstein going to be the odd man out, and you choose to keep some of these? First of all, Presti has done just such a phenomenal job of salary cap management and drafting diamonds in the rough. AJ Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe on these contracts are like some of the best in basketball. That can't get overstated because depth is so important in the NBA today. Like, but I do think that aspect of it is interesting because I do think, you know, like it just really just depends on who you're playing. Like, so what lineup you're going to run because they're elite at both. But I don't know. I always thought, I guess what I'm rounding out to say is that I thought Hartenstein was going to be like a pretty clear odd guy out at his price point. But with how effective he's been, I just wonder if he's too imperative to this situation to let go his skill set, because what we're talking about, it is rare that you can find one. I think this also speaks to Chet's malleability, that they are so effective with him at the 5 and at the 4. Like his skill is also what makes these lineups viable with Hartenstein, but some of Hartenstein's skill, the rebounding, the positioning, the mid-range scoring, the playmaking that Hartenstein brings at the 5, it's very unique for his position. So I wonder if he's too perfect of a puzzle piece to let go, or kind of like Carson saying, I don't know, what if Sorber comes along and he looks really good, because I really liked him as a prospect as well. Those decisions on the margins are going to be really fascinating to me for OKC and what they do in terms of roster construction moving forward.
The rebounding difference this year between iHeart, the double big look, and Chet at the 5, it really is crazy. I mean, he has a lot of value there.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Hartenstein, like, at the end of the day, I think people forget he's just entering his prime. He's 27 years old, and you can see there's been steady improvement throughout his career. I think this year he's added a little bit more. Like, this is going to sound crazy, but he's actually had some off-the-dribble moments this year, using that little hook shot and finding ways to add his touch in different ways than just that little short roll, floater that he loves. I mean, I don't know, because, like, I think the team option is $28 million, and for a 27-year-old big who ranks so highly in impact metrics, plays 28, 30 minutes. And obviously the big thing with Hartenstein is that if Chet gets injured or anything, you have such a good starting center. You have such a good option. Like, if you have Hartenstein or Chet, you're going to be a 70-win team with Shai, Hartenstein, or Chet. You're going to be a 70-win team in the regular season. So I think you just have to find a way to keep him at least for one more season. After that, you obviously get to the second apron extension talks. But I wouldn't want to go into next season just relying on Sorber and Jay Will in case something happens with Chet, or Chet struggles at the 5 in certain matchups,
You would give up Dort over iHeart, like, if it comes to that?
Yeah, I think pretty easily, especially with how Casey Wallace is emerging, right? Like, or
totally agree.
Or maybe you sell Caruso, like maybe, but like I feel like Hartenstein and Casey are must keep at this point. Like,
at this point.
I think that Caruso, I mean, when it comes to the playoff push, I just think he's even more destructive defensively than Dort. I think he's even more versatile. I just think he is such a, like, ace up your sleeve. And then offensively, when you see those zone looks, he's just such a high feel guy. I do trust his shooting off the catch more than Dort's, and he's such a smart cutter. Like, I just think he's such a great playoff player. And, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't have to play again this regular season. I know he's playing like 18 minutes a game and he's missed time. Like, it doesn't matter, dude. When you get to the playoffs, he's like damn near a top 50 guy. And I think you said it. Like, for me, between Dort and Hartenstein, it's really not a question. I just think the depth of great perimeter defensive talent the Thunder have. What Dort does is so much more replaceable for them compared to Hartenstein being like a totally unique player on this roster.
We say all this with acknowledging that we would not have a title without Lou Dort. Shout out Game 5 against the Nuggets hitting those 3-3.
Oh, shout out Lou Dort. That was crazy.
But yeah, no, Chet's been absolutely phenomenal this year. It's gonna be really fun to see him. Obviously, anytime that he matches up with Wemby, but especially having iHeart out there, kind of having the double big look tomorrow. I did see Wemby's on a minute restriction though, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but to be expected. There's another member of the big three that we got to talk about. He's only got to play in a handful of games so far, and Jalen Williams. This is a guy that I think, as we had our playoff preview podcast, you guys rightfully had questions about Dub and what he was going to be able to provide, as that like second scorer for Shai. And it's let's be honest, like it started off kind of rocky, but there in the finals, I think he really started to hit his stride. He was a great compliment to Shai. He was, whether it was scoring or just bringing the ball up to like alleviate the full court press to get Shai going off ball, and then of course dropping 40 points in the NBA Finals with after finding out after the fact what's going on with his wrist. Felt like he really answered the call. Obviously, that same wrist held him out for a lot of the season so far. He's only played a handful of games. What are you guys seeing out of Dub? Are you encouraged by what you've seen? Do you think he's kind of continuing what you saw in the finals, or just what are your thoughts on Dub so far?
Obviously, it's so early. I don't know that I have big takeaways yet. Like, he's still finding that rhythm for sure. I think in terms of shot diet up to this point, he's doing that J-Dub thing where he loves living out of the mid-range, maybe a little bit too much for me right now. But I just don't think he's found the outside shot up to this point. And, that can kind of come and go with him. We saw that slump last year. But I've been impressed by his playmaking. And I just think, he's so reliable to me, because what's so great about J-Dub is he's just the epitome of like the versatile winning second option. Even if he's not always going to be a seamless self-creator and he can have lulls, he's going to be great in transition. He's going to make good decisions, good reads for his teammates. He's going to be a top 15 defender on the planet and guard multiple positions. And it's just like, even when he doesn't have it as a scorer, he's so impactful. That's why I think he is such a great fit for this team. I'm very confident in J-Dub. And what I would hope to see from him is like that downhill aggression we saw in the Minnesota series when he was at his best in the finals, when he's getting into the restricted area 5-6 times a game. He's getting to the free throw line 6 times a game. Like, I like that because he has the ability to do that. And too often it feels like he's kind of weaving in that intermediate range, and he's taking a lot of little fallaways, pull-up middies, which, he's good at but not great at. And that's just not a very efficient path to self-created offense a lot of the time.
Yeah, Dub and Chet's full value never really fully shows up in the box score just because of how impactful those guys are defensively. And like Carson's saying, that's probably the biggest area I want to see Dub improving. He's so strong, man. Like, you see it defensively when he walls guys up. Like, I want to see Dub fully translate that to him getting downhill and being more consistent. But, AJ Mitchell's emergence this season has really been huge to mitigating some of the impact with Dub not being on the floor, right? Like, that is where I would say there's not really a ton of pressure, for Dub to be back to where he was last season, right? I think the Thunder can kind of ease him back into the lineup, and just because they have such incredible depth and guys have stepped up. So I do think that's an appeal of Dub. Like, it doesn't have to be, we got 5 long months before the playoffs are going to roll around. There's a lot of time for Dub to get back to normal, but I'm confident. And kind of like Carson saying, he does so many little things that he's going to figure the shot out. He's a great defender. All these little things aren't going to change. And Dub fits so well with this team. He's awesome, man. Everybody on the Thunder is so versatile and impactful, but I think Dub's going to get back to normal. And I said this last season. I didn't want to sound too negative on Dub, but I felt like that is kind of for all of the big three, maybe that is the floor of what these guys are going to look like in the playoffs moving forward. Like we talked about earlier, Chet was injured, coming off of a major pelvic injury. This was Dub's first real run in the playoffs. Shai played down in a few series. It was a disastrous Denver series for both Dub and Chet. Like, they could be. Not only do I think they could be, I anticipate and I expect them to be even better this year in the playoffs for everybody in the big three.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm loving that. And, talking about kind of his role in the offense, especially with guys like AJ stepping up, even Carson doing a little bit more off or on ball this season. Alex, our co-host Alex, he said in the last podcast that Dub is kind of playing the connector role. Obviously, he's doing what he's doing on defense, but you talk about the playmaking. It's not just creating assists. It's just the connection of the offense and the hockey assist. It's very prevalent. It's very very easy to see. And yeah, shout out Dub, man. I mean, it's great to have him back. It's rough for the Shai MVP talks. It was like he's doing this without the second best player, but always good to have him back. I mean, you guys mentioned him. You guys brought him up. I know you guys love him, based on the podcast. But Carson, your namesake, brought up in the chat. What do y'all think AJ Mitchell's potential is?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think in his current role, he's obviously always just going to be that third creator. If you put him on another team, I think he could be a really good secondary ball handler. And I think he's already really good. Like, I understand some of the efficiency with him has come down to earth and isn't going to jump off the page. I just think he is somebody who is so incredibly crafty and who I have a lot of confidence in when it comes to him just bringing that self-created offense. I mean, his footwork, his ball handling, his change in pace, his floater range touch. He's a good passer. And what's so great about him is he's another one of these Thunder guys, Logan, who, as you mentioned, he's good at everything, right? He's going to compete his ass off defensively too. He's pretty good playing off ball. He's got some good feel as a cutter. It's honestly probably going to come down to what level of jump shooter he actually can get to be, because if he's a 39% 3-point shooter, I just think we're talking about one of the best third perimeter creators in basketball. And I already think he's definitely one of the better. I think he should be maybe not a front runner for most improved anymore, but still one of the front runners for six man. And at least in both those conversations, I think he's really good. And in terms of a ceiling, I don't know. I guess I would say realistically, a top 50 player. I can definitely see that outcome for him.
He's so well-rounded, and Carson touched on one of my favorite aspects of AJ. It is when his jumper's not hitting, AJ just has so much heart, man. The guy is always playing hard and busting his ass up and down the floor. And it is a collective identity of this team. Everybody's flying up the court, but some guys get down. Some guys let that ruin their confidence. AJ he's always playing hard. And I really admire that about him. Even when his jumper's not hitting, you feel his impact every single night. If it's grabbing a crucial rebound, if it's just getting downhill in the pick and roll, setting up a shot for somebody. Because I agree, I don't think he has elite touch, and I think that's he can get to that floater and he can get to these interior shots and threes with relative ease. He just does. He's not an elite scorer, but he does so many connective things: ball handling, defending, and again, he plays his ass off. He's so competitive.
And he's so good off 2 feet around the basket. He's so crafty. If he was just a little bit bigger, more athletic, if that rim field goal percentage was just a little higher, because when he started the year, he was finishing so well around the rim. And I was some of these scoop layups, contested, just finding angles. I was is he going to keep making 70% of these shots? And he hasn't, but he can still get there. He just, another guy, man, he can kind of carve his way to where he wants, chisel his way to where he wants. I think he's very good.
Yeah, it was actually
so crazy.
No, go ahead.
My bad. It's so crazy that the Thunder can just spawn a ball handler that's good on defense. I don't think people realize if you look across the NBA, it is so rare to have actual ball creators that are positive on defense. And AJ Mitchell's been a clear positive. His screen navigation has been really good. He's a really bulky, strong frame, so he's not gonna get bullied on those switches. It's incredible. Obviously the Thunder have Shai, who's a positive. J-Dub, who might be the best wing defender in basketball, arguably. It's absolutely absurd. And just talking, I think Logan was talking about earlier, the versatility of this team. Like the fact that you have J-Dub and Chet as your emerging young stars. Like you look at the young stars across the league, how many players have that type of portability? I'm not gonna try to take shots, but like imagine if it's like someone like Paulo Banchero, right? He's not gonna have the same versatility, that same portability to just plug and play. Someone like Chet, he can play so many different roles.
Totally.
Always gonna impact the game defensively. Like the Thunder just got so blessed. I mean, obviously credit to Presti, like to have so many high level guys that don't really require too much cadence, don't really require like too much like you don't really have to change your lineup to really alter for one guy. You don't really have to like play a certain type of way to alter to AJ Mitchell or Chet or J-Dub or Shai. Like it's ridiculous. Like this might be the most versatile roster 1 to 10 we've ever seen. So just AJ's just adding into that.
Yeah, and it's nuts to see like there was games like before Dub came back, like at the end of the third quarter, or even like whenever Shai gets on the floor in the fourth quarter, like when that's Shai time, like Shai is content to just like chill, like AJ cook, and like he did. Like there were stretches he would get like 5-6 points, like in the end of the fourth quarter, like just taking his man 1-on-1, like. He's an automatic paint touch, man. It doesn't matter who's in front of him. It's absolutely insane to see. Now, I do want to move on to another role guy, and this is a question. We kind of brought him up here a little bit, but I just want to ask, in a hypothetical world, obviously Wemby's dealt with the injury. He's back. I think he's still eligible, for awards at this point because he hasn't missed enough. But say he misses more time, say Chet possibly misses more time because he's missed a handful of games. If those two guys are out of the picture, is Carson Wallace a sneaky defensive player of the year candidate?
Defensive player of the month. He already got that.
Yep.
He's great. I mean, okay, well, you just took a couple guys out of contention because I think if Chet stays healthy,
yes,
it's going to be Chet. It's an interesting question. I think I'd probably be inclined to like go with a Draymond. I think what he's done for the Warriors defense this year is so crazy. The Thunder are on pace to have the best relative defense ever. But again, Dylan, now you're getting in my head with these hypotheticals. It's like, all right, what if you take the best defender on the team off as the next best defender? He's all defense good. I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, he's amazing. I think his hands are some of the best I've ever seen. He's leading the league in steals right now. And his screen navigation is so damn good. I think like even his size can get underrated. Like he's another one of these big guards. I think Carson is amazing. I've always loved him, Logan. I know you've really always loved him, so I'll let you get a little glazing if you want.
I mean, Carson's fantastic. His basketball feel is just so impeccable. That's what really stood out of Kentucky is just the guy's so smart, and he's a genius defender. I don't know, did y'all see that clip where Lou Dort was talking about he's grinding Carson Wallace tape trying to get hands like him? Like, come on, dude. Carson's unbelievable. And, like, I think that he is – shout out Sam Presti, but, like, again, another guy where it's like for other teams, Carson Wallace would be, like, the maybe third or fourth best player on their team. Like, he would be a starter, clear cut at point guard or shooting guard for a lot of basketball teams with what he does. He could probably give you – he's not like an absurd scorer or something, but he could give you some decent volume if he was getting those kind of minutes. And he's not just another guy. I think he is imperative to this defensive formula that OKC has. But, he's maybe like their seventh guy or eighth guy in the playoff rotation, and that's just unbelievable.
No. All right, let's not disrespect.
I didn't want to say the number. I had to stay away from the lauded number.
No, I see.
I called a pivot. Yes.
Okay.
You should have went high. Come on, he started, a lot of the games because
I think he started every game this year.
He started every game.
I think
so.
Yeah,
I guess he has. Yeah, because we've had a full starting lineup the whole season.
He's just he's awesome, man. I don't think he'd be my depoy. Like maybe then we're like talking about Dre's a good shout, like maybe like Gobert. I think that's where more of it gets into like kind of a positional argument where I just don't think guards are as valuable as centers, but all defense, no doubt. I think he's got I was going to say I think he's got the best hands. Dyson Daniels is freaking sweet too. I might take Carson though. Carson leads the league, I think, in total steals this year, and I want to say steals per game. One of the best.
Russo's hands are right there too.
Yeah, that's true. It's so unfair, man.
It's insane.
And you know what's crazy? You talk about Dort watching film to like learn how to steal like Carson. Caruso talks about how Carson doesn't watch film. Like he doesn't understand how to watch film. Like he's like, hey, this guy, he favors his left or whatever. He's like, Alex, I'm just gonna guard him. And I'm like, that's his mindset. He's just doing this based on instinct and ability. Like if he ever figures out the the mental aspect of it,
like guys' tendencies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he single-handedly broke the will of the Phoenix Suns. Like the Suns have been hot even without Devin Booker. Like Colin Gillespie was everybody's favorite white guy. First play of the game, they get tip off. Casey Wallace says, "That is my ball. I'm going the other way." And it was from then on, it was just an onslaught.
The ball pressure is just absurd, dude. Like if you don't melt down against the Thunder, good for you, because you're gonna go through hell if you're a guard, especially.
Yeah. And, we're going to talk a little bit, more about this team and the heights they can reach, but just really fast. We talk about all the heights we can reach. We talk about repeating. In the midst of all this, there is a calamity of a team in the Western Conference that has presented the Thunder with the option to get even better. Los Angeles Clippers, man, unprotected pick right now. You go to Tankathon, it's so funny. I would go to Tankathon and do sim lottery, like a daily exercise. The other day I went to Tankathon, I didn't even have to spin. It was already in top 3. It's currently in the top 3. It's a great position to be in. Obviously you guys cover the draft as well. You guys are draft experts. You guys evaluate these prospects. There's a big 3 out there: AJ Debanza, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer. I don't want to ask your ranking. We'll get to that, in the offseason whenever we're talking draft. I want to ask you, which player do you think is more Thundery type player?
Okay, first off, I just want to address this, and maybe people will be upset at me for this. Dylan, I love the Thunder. I hope to God this doesn't happen. The NBA will be destroyed. It will be non-competitive for a long time. It'll be KD to the Warriors, but worse because you're going to be getting a 19-year-old just as a basketball fan, man, we're already talking about a team that's 24-1 and has a plus 17 net rating. They don't need Darren Peterson. They don't need Cam Boozer. That being said, Debanza is actually my favorite talent. I think he has the highest ceiling. I think he is one of the craziest scoring prospects to ever come through, but the worst fit for the Thunder, I would say.
Yeah,
just because
I agree.
He has the most he needs to refine on the margins. Darren Peterson and Cam Boozer, what's so incredible about both of them is how much they have these star traits, but also these complementary traits. Boozer would be really interesting because he's sort of an answer to the Hartenstein problem in the sense that he's not a 5 to me, but could he play the 5 for 10 minutes a game? And would he and Chet be a great front court together where Chet brings the center aspect of dominant rim protection, right? Boozer is more of a ground bound, but very physically strong, elite rebounding, kind of big. I think they would complement each other well. And then Boozer's just so high feel, monster foul drawer, shoots the ball well, really versatile defensively. To me, he's just the easiest plug and play guy. And looking at that front court spot as being, if there were an area the Thunder could afford to add some talent, it would be that more than the backcourt. But I also think Darren Peterson would be incredible here because he's another guy who, yes, great pick and roll player, right? Lethal pull-up shooter, really good driver, good passer. He's insanely complete. But what has been so intriguing early this season is him really stressing defenses off ball. And if you put that guy alongside Shai and he's a good athlete who can hold his own defensively, it'd be crazy. But I think purely in terms of fit, even though Boozer is the 3rd best talent to me, he would make the most sense for the Thunder. But again, I actually get a little bit nauseous thinking about it because I love the NBA and this would not be good for it. And it really might happen. It is a real possibility.
It is. Shout out Clippers, man.
Yeah.
Let's blow the Clippers up.
For real.
I kind of agree fundamentally with what Carson's getting at. Darren Peterson's my favorite prospect for sure, and the Thunder can't lose. Let's just be real. If they just end up with the top, it's just, let's. It would be like KD to the Warriors because I remember when that happened, and I actually didn't believe the news, probably like everybody else. I was like, oh, you're lying. This is not a real story. It just wouldn't be fun. No, I'm just serious. Dude, I don't.
We're saying this to the Thunder guys. You guys would love it.
Yeah,
great for you guys.
I actually think the Thunder. I mean, what do they? They just win
just run the table.
78 games. They go 78-4.
82-0
It'd be
challenge.
it would be, bro. It would be the
It would-
literal
it-
82-0 challenge.
It would be the 60 Celtics challenge. Can you win 11 in 13 years? Like that's the sort of
It's like
territory.
we're talking about OKC as this super team now. Like the discourse on the sports shows would be, will OKC drop a game during their playoff run? Like
I already can't imagine them losing, dude.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think the draft lotteries are like in the middle of the conference finals. So like imagine like the Thunder up like 2-0 in the conference finals, and then they just get the number 1 pick like right before the game. Like it would be so. I cannot wait for when it happens.
That
gonna
would
be
be
awesome.
insane, man.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and then we're gonna bring you guys on and complain about it. It's gonna be great. All right, fellas. Getting into the historical aspect, we talk about the history. As we said, we're sponsored by FanDuel. I just want to bring this up because I thought this was crazy when I first found out. FanDuel actually has an entire section in NBA that's it's an OKC tab. It's just Thunder bets that you can do like historical. So I just want to run through these, and I want you guys to tell me if you think the record gets broken or not. First one is individual stat. This is Shai's 20-point streak at 127 games would break Wilt's top record. Do you think he gets that record? He's at 96.
That's another 31 from now. Another 30.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
31. 29. 31. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
He's at 96 right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Numbers are hard sometimes.
yes. Okay, I thought he was at 96. He hasn't gone below 23 this season. I feel like the most likely way that he doesn't score 20 is if he plays like 24 minutes because they're up 45 and he gets 18. Like, I'm going to say he does it, dude. I just think he has the best concoction of like crazy, consistent scoring traits of maybe anybody ever, because obviously he shoots 45% from 3, but he only puts up 5 a game. He's mostly getting to crazy efficient shots inside the arc and at the line that he just gets you over and over and over again. I'm going to say yes, I think he can do it.
I'll just take the other side. I'll just say no. I don't know, man. That's
more rational. It's a crazy record.
I mean, yeah, dude, for him to break that's just, I can't imagine. That will
the Thunder
record
have
is
broken my
insane.
brain, dude. I'm probably going to say yes to everything. I can't imagine like anything going wrong for them right now.
Well, the next question is about the Thunder and their win streak. It is currently at 16. The record would be 34.
I'm going to say no.
No.
Yeah.
I think they'll get into the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might do 2013 Heat 27 straight. 33 is just so crazy. But like, this is another thing I'm talking about in this video I'm working on right now. They are the most variance-proof NBA team. Like, I think they have the highest regular season floor that we've seen ever. And the thing is, in this era where it's like 3-point luck swings games, right? The Thunder just build in such a crazy margin with their defense, their transition dominance, their possession battle dominance, with the turnover scoring margin we talked about. Shai being so consistently great inside the arc that, like, when they have off shooting nights, they shoot under 35% from 3 this year. They're 10-0. The rest of the league wins like 30% of their games under those circumstances. Obviously, you can say, like, guys missing games, they're 18-1 without J-Dub. So, like, I can't say it's impossible. It's just so hard to do.
Who holds that record?
That's the 72 Lakers. Because
It's
it's
not
like
impossible. It's just not
if one
impossible.
team shoots 50+% from 3, that could be it. But again, like, they're better set up to withstand that than anybody. It's not impossible. It is not impossible.
Not at all.
Like, I was talking to Focus before the pod about this because Zach Lowe brought it up on his podcast that I think the 33rd game would be at Houston in January. And, like, Houston's a good team, obviously, and we always play weird games in Houston. So I don't even think it's happening.
Yeah.
That would be crazy if it came down to it. That would be, like, one of the best NBA moments, especially because that would mean that they would be 40-1 at that time.
Holy shit.
Playing for
I mean, think about that. That's crazy. What was it Phil Jackson that said that a true contender was like 40 wins before 20 losses? Like, what about before 2 losses, Phil? Come on. All right, and then the other one, is the big question. It's the hot button question, and it feels like more prevalent this week than it has all season. It feels like everybody wants to talk about it. will the Thunder will the Thunder get the record, but B, will the Thunder push to get the record?
Will they push to get it? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been saying since very early on, I think they're going to win 70 plus this year. And, now that becomes a lot easier once you're 24-1. I think there is a very, very real chance. I'm going to say, I don't want to say. Yes. I mean, the thing is, to me, the most likely impediment for them in this is, we're 68-6. Why are we still playing Shai, right? And they could just drop a couple late in the year. But I also think, they'd win at least half their games, even if Shai doesn't play. They're a double-digit net team with Shai off the court this year because the defense is just the best that we've seen in decades and decades. For all the reasons that I've laid out, I'm going to say yes. I think they get 74. I think they're the most consistent regular season team we've ever seen. I think the defense, Shai, the margins they create, it's just like the most translatable formula in terms of regular season dominance. We've seen their depth where, you can be without a J-Dub or a Chet and you're still going to win 90% of your games. What do you think, Logan?
Yeah, I didn't think it was really possible, to be honest with you, when the season started. And that's what's another thing that's so crazy about this OKC team is, historically, when a team wins a championship, right, they have this a little bit of championship lull, a sort of championship hangover, right? We saw it with Boston a little bit, Golden State coming out. These are older teams. OKC is so youthful now that, that almost just doesn't apply to them. We're maybe this will happen to an OKC team 5 to 10 years from now where it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming off of his 6th straight championship, right? Or, maybe they come out the gates and stumble a little bit, but they are so still young and athletic and I don't even think hunger really comes into it. They're just so young and athletic that
no, they're psychos. No, dude, motivation is totally a part of it. They play harder than any great team I've ever seen in the regular season over the course of the 82.
That just doesn't factor into them. And like you guys were saying earlier too, I think Shai's leadership and work ethic is wholeheartedly a part of it. I think these guys see how hard he works every single day and it makes them buy in harder for what they want to do. I'm just at a point this season where I have seen them play such dominant basketball that, yes, I think it is going to happen. I think that if Shai can stay healthy a relative amount, as long as he doesn't miss a ton of games, I'm there with OKC. I think it is going to happen. It's just unbelievable, man. I can't. It's like when you saw Wemby for the first time, Just what the fuck?
The only thing is that their schedule is extremely tough to end the season. Not to end the season, just the remaining way out. It's by far the hardest in the league. They played Denver 4 times, Houston 3, all of the top East teams. I don't know, but they built such a good cushion right now. 24-1, they're well above pace. I think they have to go 50-7 to beat the record, which would be a 82-83 win percentage. And they just keep doing that whenever Shai and one of the bigs are healthy. So I don't know. I think it's gonna get very close. I think some people are going too far, 75 wins. I don't think that's really gonna happen, 75, 76. But I think above 70 is damn near a lock if Shai's healthy. But which is crazy to say. I really just think above 70 is a lot. I don't see them losing more than 12 games the rest of the way. But I don't know. 73 is just such a high floor. You split with Denver, it gets tough. I don't know. It just becomes tough, especially those road games.
If you're feeling frisky, you can always bet the Thunder to win 78 wins for plus 2,000 odds. So I don't know that I would recommend that, but you can.
What are the odds on that, Dylan? On them breaking it or not?
74 is plus 240.
Yeah, I like those odds.
See, I took us to win 70 games early in the before the season started, and now it's lower odds on to break the record than it was for 70 wins. I think I got it with profit boost 960. So,
wow,
yeah,
good work,
great value. Trying to think where I was at. Oh yeah, with the whole record, Thunder chasing the record, and what you brought up about Shai, obviously, that's one of the big conversation pieces. You want to keep your star healthy. It's hard to play that many games at that high of a level and expect victory. But I think that the fact that the Thunder are able to just end games in 3 quarters, and even against the Suns, before 3 quarters, you're able to like get rest on the back end, like, for your stars by just like, going balls to the wall for 3 quarters, and like more than 50% of the league, you're able to just end it in 3 quarters. Sometimes the Lakers game, the Warriors game, we ended those games in 3 quarters. Like the Lakers were one of the hottest teams in the league at that point, and we just dispatched them early on. So sometimes it doesn't even matter about the talent discrepancy. Like, you're still able to do that, and I think that is going to keep the players fresh. It's going to keep the stars fresh, like at the top end of the roster, but it's also going to keep the players on the back end of the roster, like in rhythm and ready to go. Once down the stretch of the season, if we are to sit some of the guys on the top end.
I think that they'll want it too. I think that they'll want the record. I don't think they'll be reckless about it, but like, I think this is just a group of psychos. And yeah, the crazy part is like, I mean, you think about the one game they lost by 2 on the road, and obviously J-Dub was out as he was for the first 19. Chet was also out, and Caruso was out, and Dort was out. And it's like, unless you get this crazy list of guys who aren't playing, Shai plus this defense equals a win pretty much every time.
Yeah, it was up 22 in that game too. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. I want to give you the opportunity if you want to play a quick game. I want to be cognizant of your time. We've gone an hour and a half. I know you guys are no stranger to log podcasts, but it's late. It's Friday, so if you guys don't want to do this, we'll obviously have you guys on in the future. We can run it back then.
I'm game.
I mean, I'm down.
All right, yeah. I figured you would be, but I want to give you the opportunity. Carson, this is actually a chance at redemption for you. If you recall, the very first time that you came on the podcast, we gave you a prompt to name all the Thunder players since their conception, the starting lineup, or the starting player for each position each year. Now you've got your co-host with you. You got Logan with you to kind of help you out. This is redemption, man. I'm giving you the same prompt. We're including this season as well.
Okay.
So if you guys are ready, I'll let you guys get started on the easy end point guards.
This is every year.
So this is
since 09.
Yeah.
Since
they became the Thunder.
Derek Fisher.
Well, starting lineup.
Starter.
Derek Fisher numbers. Eric Maynard.
So Russ. What are you doing? Russ is a rookie in the 09
So
season.
the majority of
we're going in order. I was just naming guys, bro. My fault.
You're naming backups.
Russell Westbrook.
You're naming Eric Maynard.
Wait, there's another guy.
I already said
Royal Ivy.
I'm
cooking right now.
Out Royal Ivy. Let's get a Johan Petro shout.
Alex Abrinas,
man, but Daquan Cook, Logan. This isn't
all right.
task
I'm locked in. My fault.
Chris Paul, Shai, bang. That's point guard.
Russ, CP3, Shai. Point guards is done. Now we're moving the shooting guard. Gets a little bit more difficult.
Harden.
No,
I don't get the.
He was never the
question
starter.
Harden never started.
He was the sixth
the question
man.
is each position.
Thabo.
The player that was in the starting lineup each year. Yeah.
There you go. Thabo,
Thabo
Robertson, obviously.
Oladipo.
Yes.
Yeah. What year are we caught up through?
You are to 17 right now with Vic.
Did Abrinas actually start 1 year?
Not for the majority of the season.
He might have. Was Terrence Ferguson the majority starter in like 2020?
2019.
What year is that?
2019.
2019?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, God, those teams. It's actually crazy how bad the Thunder were for a second. I was about to say Hamidou Diallo.
I was thinking about Anthony Morrow, but
I don't think
he started either.
Nah, shout out though. Good bench. Elite shooter. Okay.
We're not counting like Dennis
now?
Schroeder in a year, are we?
No, he was never a starter one time. He should have been 6th man of the year. That's a different conversation.
He did have a good season.
So you're missing 18 and then 20 on.
Okay, well, obviously, are we considering Dort the 2? It's positionless basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
2K considers him the 2.
Yeah. No, that's reasonable. I think that's correct. So then we're looking at 17, 18?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're after Oladipo. Who was starting on those teams? Logan, buddy, you've been killing it so far.
I'm trying to think about who was on that team. Like, this is the post Westbrook MVP season.
No.
Yes.
Oh, post his MVP season. Yeah, but we're considering Paul George the 3.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And we're past Robertson at this
Well,
point.
I will say, not to hang you up on the shooting guards. It's Dre. It's just he started and then Vic started. Dre moved to the 3 his MVP year, and then Dre went back.
Okay.
That was a catch-22.
Okay.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking we had already checked him off. Okay, so is that it for shooting guards?
You got shooting guards all the way.
All right, so now we get KD through 2016, considering him the 3 all those years. So we have Robertson for some years at small forward. Technically, okay.
Yeah.
We are going to have then Paul George for 18 and 19.
You remember this time?
We're gonna have
Gallo.
dude. Oh my god, that was the worst trivia moment of my life. I forgot about Paul George's existence. I was about to say
Gallo.
Yeah,
Starter.
good one, Logan. Mm-hmm. Gallo definitely started right for a year.
I don't have him at small forward.
Power forward, probably.
Oh, okay. Power forward. Obviously, Dub is the small forward for the last few years, right?
This past season, yes.
Yeah.
And currently, yeah.
Okay, the last 2 years. So before him, who would have been considered the small forward? Positions are so fake.
Yeah.
They're so arbitrary.
It's more of a
So we're missing. We're missing.
Did you guys have any nasty year where like
range,
Ousmane
right?
Dieng started most of them or something?
No. No.
There's some player. There's a nasty player here,
I
though.
was gonna say like Poku or like I don't know, man. They had.
Is there a Hamidou Diallo in here? I feel like he started a decent.
Nah,
amount.
he came up
No,
mostly.
not like 2020.
Killed it off the bench though.
This isn't another like positional wing swap thing, is it?
It kind of is. One of them is.
Yeah, 2022 to
2020.
Okay, well, Jeremy. Wait, we haven't said Jeremy Grant.
Yeah,
Not
he did
for
not start at small forward now.
Oh, you don't have him at small forward? Okay. This is somebody who we named. Like, is it
Yeah.
Dort at small forward?
No, you haven't named him yet.
No.
Okay.
I would say Carson
haven't
said
named him
Poku. I'll give you Poku for 21. Base Poku kind of.
Poku counted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was Baisley and Poku. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Baisley.
They were
yeah.
interchangeable between
Darius Baisley,
kind of
of
like
course.
small forward, power forward that year. So.
Oh, who else was I about to name drop? No, that wouldn't be at small forward. That'll be a power forward if we get there. I was about to shout out Isaiah Roby. I don't know that he was ever the majority starter anyways. Okay, what years are we missing now, Dylan?
You are missing 2020 and 2022 through 2024.
Okay, so this is obviously somebody who just like positionally
Yes.
giddy. Yeah, okay.
Which again,
And then
I don't agree with
2020.
being small forward, but just for the sake.
Yeah. Well, somebody's
Mhm.
got to be. I mean,
This is a stupid guess. I don't know, man. Like Kenrich Williams isn't right, is it?
Mm-mm.
no.
We didn't have him in 2020.
I didn't think he was there yet.
So it's not Gallo. Gallo's on this team, but he's being considered the 4,
Mhm.
right? So who else is on
This
this
was
team?
a young lanky guy.
Baisley would have been like
Dude, Thunder great Josh Westis, bruh. Oh my gosh.
Josh Houston.
Yeah, how could I forget?
I want to say Terrence Ferguson again. I already got him for shooting guard. Wait, is he at the
Yeah.
small forward?
Yeah.
for
Good
this
pull,
team?
dude.
Oh,
Good pull.
okay, that's what I was asking if there was another one of these double count.
My apologies. I didn't.
MFers. Okay, nice. No, you're good. You're good. There's a lot to keep track of. Okay, nice. So we're on to the
Mhm.
4s.
Surge.
So we're gonna have obviously a ton of surge.
Mhm.
Jeff Green before that. Does he have any years?
Yes.
9 to
Surge
11.
starting at the 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So then we're right into surge. And then we don't have a Nick Collison season, right? There was never a season he was the
He
majority
was always on the
starter.
bench.
Yeah.
Or no, he wasn't on the bench.
Domas. Oh, wait, did Domas start a
Yep.
year for you guys?
MVP
yeah?
Russ. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to make him a
2017,
spot up
that's
shooter.
right.
It was so bad. He was a stretch 4 who did nothing, bro. It was so bad.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Gallo here.
They probably looked at the
1 year.
white and said, Gallo, Jeremy Grant,
Yep.
right? Good call, Logan.
Yep.
Remembering the guys who we mentioned. Does that get us through
You're
20?
missing
Missing 2018.
2018.
We don't also have a Baisley or Poku.
Oh my god, I just
right?
thought of
Yes.
Cole Aldrich.
You got the other Baisley Poku swap in 2021, and then Baisley was
Okay.
also powerful.
I'm just thinking about Mitch McGarry right now, bro. I can't lie.
These are such good shouts. Michigan legend Mitch McGarry.
What if it was like was it Cantor? Was it Cantor?
Oh, wait. No, I think it's it
Melo.
Melo?
Yes,
Yeah,
I forgot
Melo.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And so now, I mean, are we considering Chet the 4 for the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, but before that, you're missing 23, 24.
Before that. Who was
It's not Dub, is it? Are we just counting Dub?
Stuff.
Okay.
Oh, we
Yeah,
are counting Dub. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that was the Shai, Dort, Giddy, Dub, and Jay Will lineup that we took into the play-in game.
Yeah. Shout out Dub, man. Okay, now
Kendrick
centers.
Perkins. You couldn't have won
Here
the
do we
chip
have-
without Kendrick Perkins, man.
You
He's
got
too
some perk.
important.
You got some perk
They
years.
deemed him too important to the team, man. So they couldn't deal him. They had to deal away James Harden, you know?
Yep.
Hey, everything worked out. Do we have any Nick Collison
We
years
do.
here, starting at the 5?
09.
Okay, nice. Obviously, Steven Adams for a while.
Cantor, right?
Okay, 09. So we're missing. I don't know,
Nope.
was Cantor ever the starter?
Cantor was
No.
never predominantly the
Yeah.
starter.
Mm.
Okay, can't play Cantor. So we're missing. Are we missing like 10 and 11 before Perk gets there?
Just
Perk's
yeah,
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just 10.
10, yeah.
God, I keep on wanting to shout out Johan Petra, which
wanna
would
shout
just be
out
the worst guess
Kuzmic, bro.
possibly of all
I
time.
don't know. I'm thinking about him.
Onion
Yeah, bro.
Kuzmic? He never played for the Thunder.
Oh no,
just
maybe
wanna shout him
am I
out,
thinking
man.
of Kirstich? I might be thinking of Kirstich. Did he play for the Thunder?
Yeah, you're thinking of
Yeah, I'm
Nenad
thinking of
Kir-
him.
You're
My
thinking
bad.
of
My
Nenad
bad. Yeah, I'm thinking of Kirstich.
That would be
No, I
that would
like
be a
that.
great pool.
That's a great shout.
Because that's him.
It's Kirstich?
Oh my
Wow.
god!
Fuck yeah, man.
Let's go. That's a great poll, dude. Shout out Cole Aldrich here again. I know I already shouted him out earlier, but shouting him out again. Okay, so then Steven Adams, we get
Takes you to
2021.
Takes us to 2021. So Chet is the
Does-
center in 23, right? Before
Was
Hartenstein
Derek
gets there. and then
Favors a
Hartenstein.
majority starter for you guys ever?
No, he
Remember-
started
He started to begin the year.
Yeah, he started at the beginning of the year, but then we went the youth route, and this guy.
Yeah, Horford was never the majority starter. Right? He didn't play enough games for
He
you
was.
guys,
He played
did
like 50
He
games.
was.
Wow.
He was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
damn.
Do we
That's
clean it up?
21.
Is that everybody?
Poku wasn't the starter, was he?
JRE.
JRE.
Let's
not
go.
JRE.
Yeah.
He took over for Favors.
Why you gotta get on the JRE app,
Yeah.
dude? I kind of liked him. I'm just
Bro,
biased
he's
towards
getting
Nova
minutes
guys.
on
Got there.
the he's getting minutes
I'm
on
like,
the
they're gonna
pills,
be
isn't he?
hard-nosed
Yeah,
good
he's
NBA
still
players.
grinding.
Bro, I thought he was the next great switch 5.
He's still around,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he was like high field.
Mhm.
You know, he could shoot a little,
Exactly.
but turns out
He locked the partner in ISO one possession. That just lives rent free in my mind.
Yeah, there you go.
You're missing 23 and current.
Yeah, so Chet and iHeart.
Chet
right?
Nyhart's 24 and 25. 23. I already mentioned this in one of the lineups.
Oh yeah, the Shai, Dort, Giddy, Dub
Jay
was
Will.
considered the
Jay
five.
Will.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay Will.
There you
yeah.
go.
Nice.
You got it.
Hell
You
yeah.
got it much faster than Carson did by himself.
My fault. I did not
Redemption, I'm telling you,
understand.
dude. I think I had been drugged before last.
Yeah, I didn't understand the concept at the beginning, but once we got it down, we started
No, but
rolling.
once you did,
Yeah.
dude, that fired me up when you pulled up.
Dude,
Nets
Ryan
Thunder legend
Gomes.
and not
That was the last
Kirstich.
obscure Thunder player I wanted to give a shout out to.
Mm.
Eric Maynor, though, dude. I really thought Eric Maynor was going to be something for the Thunder, man.
Yeah.
What about Thunder Randy Foy? Nobody ever talks about
Randy
Randy
Foy.
Foy enough
For
these
good
days.
reasons. Karan Butler.
Wow.
Yeah, old man tough
Just the list
juice.
of buyout guys that the Thunder got. Like it was Randy Foy, Karan Butler, Markieff Morris.
Markieff Morris. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
And then Markieff Morris just was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna in the end of season press conference, like, yeah, if this is gonna be my role, I'm not coming back here. And then now Marcus Morris holds like a vendetta against us anytime he talks about the Thunder. So it's great.
Dude, yeah, those guys hold way too many vendettas. When it's like, fellas, nobody likes you guys. Like, you're not in a position to be declaring beef on the world. The world has beef with you.
No, absolutely. But yeah, no, hey, you guys did awesome. And Carson, like, even the first time, like, you was on the spot, you was by yourself, like, you did good.
The first time I did, I was not awesome.
I think you did good, not awesome.
The first time I definitely got Kirstich before I got Paul George, which is not good.
You also struggled on Melo and Jeff Green. I listened back before we did it just to like see how I did it.
Oh, why would you listen back to that?
I had to see the methodology, and I still messed up the prompt.
The lights were too bright, dude. I need my buddy Logan with me for emotional support.
You got it. So, fellas, this has been awesome. It's been awesome to hear your insight on the Thunder. It's been awesome to join us on the Glaze session for the Thunder and Shai. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to plug anything you want to plug, what you're working on, where folks can find you, and yeah, floor is yours.
Appreciate you, man. As always, we are Nerd Sesh everywhere, all platforms. You can watch our full-length episodes. We do a lot of NBA stuff. We also do some NFL stuff, though, if you want that. It's Scratch. Dylan mentioned we are no strangers to long episodes. We did just do a 3-hour, 45-minute episode. That was our longest ever. Don't want to do that again, but we ranked every starting quarterback in the NFL. So if you have a really long drive, that could be a good listen. But, yeah, we got tons of Thunder Glaze. I just made a video about how Shai is having one of the best seasons ever, and now I'm making a video about how the Thunder are having one of the best seasons ever. So hopefully that'll be out very soon. We'll see when it ends up coming out. But, yeah, full show, and then we do trivia stuff all the time on social everywhere, TikTok, Instagram at NerdSesh. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for having us, man. As always, this is a great time.
Of course, man. And I just gotta say, in the spirit of Glaze, as I said, like during the playoffs, like I appreciated you guys, like you're every night your post game playoffs, just to like see confirmation bias, or like if you're seeing what I'm seeing, kind of thing. But also like just the combination of your knowledge on the stats and the numbers, and of course like the historical knowledge and your entertainment value. Like you guys are like one of my favorite podcasts to listen to out there. And
thank you, man.
And to think that it all came from me seeing the video of Josh Giddey is just bad at basketball. That was my introduction to you guys. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys for that.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Giddey agendas live on. The fake Chicago Bulls. The fake Chicago Bulls.
Giddey got better, man. Giddey got better, bro. I just wanted to be excited, man.
Giddey has gotten better, but the Bulls suck.
They do. They absolutely do. But the Thunder do not suck. You guys do not suck. So, yeah, in the spirit of that, I hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hope when you can. We'll be back tomorrow post-game after the Thunder. Hopefully put it on the Wemby full. I don't know if that's how I want to put it, but Wemby full Spurs with iHeart back in the lineup. We will be back post-game reacting to that and previewing the Cup final. So, until then, y'all have a great night. God bless. Hope when you can. As always, Thunder.